The Informers. It's Connecticut's hottest and most informative half-hour television. The Informers. Info you should know. The Informers is brought to you by Carl Sherman's International Motors, by Mark Associates, by Cillian Laro, by Powerhouse Gym, by Dale Carnegie Training, presented by Calvin L. Walker and Associates Incorporated, by DeSarbo Jensen and Reichert and Employee Benefit Consultants, by V. Faracelli Hair and Skin Studios, by Sargalini and Sons, by Barone Chiropractic, by Mickey Harpaz, and by Warehouse Outlets Furniture and Carpets. And now your co-hosts, Paul Casella and Betty Ann Roman.
Hey, welcome to The Informers. I'm Paul Casella.
And I'm Betty Ann Roman.
Very interesting show today.
You
Not
do.
that we don't usually have an interesting show. We have a very interesting show today. We're going to be talking to Andy Tivoli from Expedite Mediation and Arbitration Services Incorporated.
That's a mouthful.
All you got to do is say that. That's the whole segment. Now, we're going to talk about the benefits of alternative dispute resolution instead of going to court, going to arbitration. It's a very interesting subject.
Speedier?
Andy enlightened me. It's more expedient, what did you say?
That's what I said.
Well, we'll refer to them as Expedite from now on, okay?
Okay, and also Terry Powell from the Entrepreneur Source. He'll be explaining how to start a franchise and why they're usually more successful than self-started businesses.
What kind of business would you like to start, if you could?
Franchise?
Well, yeah,
Just regular
franchise.
business?
Not franchise. What kind of, along what lines?
Probably along the food line.
Everything always comes up here along the food line. Also, Carol Levitt from Lick Your Chops is here. She'll give us some tips on choosing the proper leash. But we're not going to touch that because there were a lot of comments before we went on about what type of leash that the staff would choose for myself. If you need more info or if you'd like to talk to us, you can call our info hotline. Our number is 387-TALK. Do you know what that stands for? 387...
8255.
You got it right. And a lot of our guests and a lot of the folks that we've had interested on the show that have come on the show have gotten in touch with us through the Informers hotlines.
Yeah, it's been very helpful.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with the info you should know right here on the Informers.
Connecticut's largest volume Volvo dealers are the Central Connecticut family of Volvo dealers, where every dealership is family-owned and operated. The Sherman family at Volvo City West Boston Post Road in Milford.
I've been doing business with Volvo City for the past 15 years. I've always found the prices to be right and the sales and service staff to be excellent.
Now, put your family in a new 1991 Volvo 240DL for just $289 a month with just $2,500 down.
A new law effective January 1st, 1991 states that all real estate agents must disclose who they represent. Mark Associates will exclusively represent you, the buyer, in the single most important investment in your future, your home. Call Mark Associates, 387-5300. V. Faracelli Hair and Skin Studios, Hampton and New Haven, with award-winning stylists, also named #1 Salon of the Year by Who's Who International World of Beauty. Get tomorrow's styles today, specializing in skincare, massage, bridal packages, day of beauty makeovers. V. Faracelli Hair and Skin Studios, New Haven and Hampton, the leader in the exciting world of beauty. Experience the Dale Carnegie difference for yourself. For class schedules, call Dale Carnegie Training at 389-9551. We deliver leadership training worldwide.
And welcome back to the Informers. First guest today is Andy Tivoli. How you doing, Andy?
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you again.
Andy, I've got to mention the name of your company once, and at that point we will refer to it as Expedite, but it's, what is it? Expedite Mediation and Arbitration Services,
Did we get
correct?
that right?
You got it all out.
Incorporated.
You got it.
And we'll refer to it as Expedite now, which will make it much more...
Expedient. Boy, we practiced that 10 times.
So what exactly does Expedite do?
Well, quite simply, what we do is provide a time and cost-efficient alternative to the regular governmental court system to resolve any type of civil dispute.
Give me an example
Okay,
of a
Okay.
dispute.
Any type of
typical, a
case.
thing that you're involved with a lot.
Well, let's say there's two cars going down the street, they collide, and normally one person gets hurt and they sue the other party as an insurance carrier, and the normal course of litigation will take 4 or 5 years to get this case resolved. What we do is provide an out-of-court forum with a judge, with the parties, to resolve this dispute.
Okay, who's on the panel?
Yeah.
You said...
Well, we use are former judges, former state and federal court judges, who preside over what we call mediations or arbitrations. So you get a dignified jurist who can give you the same quality result that you would get in the court system in a much quicker fashion.
And how much? Give me time differential, please.
Yeah.
Well, the typical, in most jurisdictions, especially today with the governmental backlogs in the court system, it takes 4 to 5 years for a case to reach the
Wow.
trial calendar.
Wow.
In fact, when a case is ready for trial, after all the discovery and everything else is completed, it still may take 2 to 3 years just to get your day in court. In our system, from the time that the case is ready, the participants may take 2 to 3 weeks to get their day in court.
Wow.
That's quite a difference.
And the actual process with you is a lot shorter too?
Well, the process it cuts years off the actual time that it would take in the court system. And in fact, the amount of time that you spend in court, when you go to court and nothing happens because both parties aren't there, that there's no courtroom available, in our system, everybody is there at a set time that they agreed upon, and the case is off, and justice is done.
I'm confused now. The difference between mediation and arbitration.
Okay.
I mean, that's
Good question.
That is a good question, Paul. Mediation is a non-binding settlement conference where the judge acts as an intermediary that tries to bring the two parties together, or if there's more than 2 parties, 3 or 4 parties together to reach a settlement of the case. However, the parties are not bound by what the judge says. The judge uses his knowledge and his experience of being a former judge to give guidance to the parties to try to get them to settle the case. Whereas arbitration is a different situation. In arbitration, the parties put their case in the judge's hands, and the judge makes a final, binding, non-appealable decision, which is final. In fact, it's more final than what you get in the court system because there is no appeal rights.
So that's real important, and both sides know that the decision is actually final.
That's true. Both sides know that the decision is final, and both sides have a part in picking the judge. So they're not, what they have here is a judge that they both feel comfortable with. And
do they get to pick the judge, or
they have to both agree on the judge. So we do not randomly assign a judge to them.
Now, is there still a jury?
There's no jury.
No,
the
no.
judge is
The
the
judge makes
arbitrator.
everything,
He makes the
okay.
final decision. And with expedite, what we do also in arbitrations is arrange what's called a high-low arbitration. So the judge makes the final decision, but before the case even gets arbitrated, the parties agree to a maximum and minimum amount that the case will be resolved for. For instance, let's say you had a car accident, and you went to expedite, and we arranged that no matter what happens, no matter what the judge decides, you'll get no less than $10,000. But on the other end, the defendant knows that he, in no instance, would have to pay more than $20,000. So this way, the judge makes his decision. Now, if the judge makes a decision for greater than 20, you get 20. If he makes it for less than 10, you get 10. This way, you're protected. Now, you don't get this kind of situation in court.
Sure.
does the judge ever? I did a little research on what you do. The judge spends time alone with both parties after he hears both sides. True?
In an arbitration?
Yes.
No.
In a mediation?
In a mediation, what the judge does is the judge acts as a negotiator. So whatever it takes to move the parties together to effect a settlement, the judge will do. He'll meet with both parties together. He'll meet with the parties individually. Whatever it takes to get these parties to voluntarily settle the case, the judge will do. But once a settlement is reached, that's the end of the case.
Okay, it's more cost-effective,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's
Why
what I
is
was
that?
gonna say.
It is so much more cost effective. From the insurance company standpoint or the defendant standpoint, they avoid years and years of hourly legal fees.
Sure.
From the plaintiff standpoint, the time that's saved and the discovery that's saved along the way affects a big cost savings. Let me make this point to you. If you have an accident case and you have to bring this case to court, you have to pay for a doctor to come in and testify.
Right.
That doctor charges $3,000 in that range for a half a day of testimony.
Wow.
In expedite, you don't have to do that. You can bring in your medical records, your doctor's records, and it saves. It's a big savings for the plaintiff, and it's a big savings for the defendant. And if you litigate a case, a lot of times you win, you lose anyway. In expedite, if you win, you win, and if you lose, you don't lose as much.
So the insurance
great.
companies are real happy to use you.
Insurance companies are very happy to be involved in expedite, and the plaintiff bar is also equally happy because they both reap benefits.
Do you think that the savings eventually, and this is looking way into the future, but do you see this type of system being used more in the future and maybe will reduce, say, insurance rates or premiums, or is it
Absolutely.
possible to...
Absolutely.
into-
I think this is the trend of the future. Cigna Insurance made a survey recently. It reduced their cost of defending an action by 70%
Wow.
of the normal cost of
Wow.
litigation. Now, that savings has to be passed along to the insurance consumer. Furthermore, the government cuts and the budgets all over the country, the civil court system is in shambles at this point. The cases take years and years to reach the trial calendar, and this, in our situation, in our system, that's avoided.
Andy, let me put you in the Informers directory quickly. And if our viewers have any questions on arbitration and mediation, you can contact Andrew Tivoli at Expedite Mediation and Arbitration Services, Inc., 15026 14th Avenue, Whitestone, New York, and toll-free numbers 1-800-829-5282. Andy, thanks
Thank
a lot
you.
for being
That
here.
was good.
We'll be
Good to
back
see
with
you.
a lot more on the Informers. Stay with us.
Cilia and Laro, certified public accountants and consultants, serving privately held businesses in Connecticut and specializing in construction and manufacturing. For timely professional services, it's Cilia and Laro. Call us at 287-8744. Hurry in today and work out at one of the area's hottest fitness centers, Powerhouse Gym. Get that body of yours in shape like you've never dreamed possible. And now a 2-year membership is only $98 a year. So come on, do it now. Come build with us at Powerhouse Gym. For all your healthcare needs, you can count on Barone Chiropractic. Barone Chiropractic, specializing in work and automobile-related injuries, with offices in Hampton, Fairfield, and Monroe. Call us today.
Welcome back to the Informers. Terry Powell from the Entrepreneurial Source is here. Terry, thanks for joining us.
How are you doing?
All right,
Did
Terry,
I
nice
say
to
that
see
right
you.
this time?
No, Entrepreneur Source.
Entrepreneur Source. What did you say?
We had a hard time. I think I said
Entrepreneurial.
entrepreneurial.
Oh, okay. We spoke with Roseanne Cosman at
Right.
first, and I want to say we got a lot of response via mail and phone on Roseanne's appearance on the show.
We sure
So we wanted to bring you back and talk a little bit about
Franchises.
specifically and what
Yeah.
makes them so successful and why so many people are getting into them as opposed to starting their own business from the seat of their pants.
Well, I think, Paul, that obviously today, with the environment being what it is in the job market, that many people are thinking more seriously about creating their own career paths rather than depending on corporate America to do that. Franchising represents a nice blend of an interdependent relationship, more what individuals have been working for a living are used to. Not used to being totally independent and calling all their own shots, but being involved in a system, working in relationship with other people and other organizations. Franchising is being in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So it's the best of both worlds.
What's
Yep.
the success rate of a franchise?
Well, if you look at
Compared
the
to what?
compared to a
Right.
non-franchise,
Right.
Yeah.
good question. The first 3 years of operation, 96.2% of all franchise
Wow.
businesses succeed. After 10 years, 90% are still in business, compared to only 18% of non-franchise businesses who make it through 10 years.
So with the longevity, it's a good retirement type of...
Yeah, it is. It's the success really gives people a little added security, and it can help them spend more time focusing on what's important in their business rather than concerning about the failure rate that's quite prevalent.
Let's talk a little bit about something that I found interesting, the comfort zone. What you said, I could have a vice president of a corporation in a franchise that is totally, totally different from what he was accustomed to doing when he worked for a big corporation.
What we specialize in, Paul, is helping people develop a profile of their goals, needs, and expectations and how it would relate to a business. And that typically means we're going to be going considerably outside their comfort zone. Most of us, when we look for a business on our own, we look within our comfort zone,
Right.
either consciously or subconsciously. We work on our perceived knowledge and our comfort level to find something that we know. Unfortunately, in our society, who we are is what we've been doing, rather than what we're going to do.
Right.
So we have to help people move that comfort zone or expand it dramatically, make a paradigm shift from what they've been doing all their careers to a business opportunity that we can use as a vehicle to achieve their goals, needs, and expectations. Most of us are concerned with what we'll do in the business. We're more concerned with what the business will do for you, which is most important in the success of that business. So we take them through a profile developing process.
How do you do that?
Well, it's a combination of interviews and testing that's done to determine and focus our energies and efforts and their thought processes towards those goals, needs, and expectations. Many things that we don't think of in detail when we're looking for a business. It's mostly done on emotion and then justified later with facts, hopefully. In our process, we keep it very businesslike. We want people to be focused in on those goals, needs, expectations. The reality of what's this business going to be like and where do I fit into it? How can I take those transferable skills, those experiences that I've had in my job or my career path, and use those to my success with someone else's proven vehicle? The franchisor has a proven system.
Sure.
He's ironed the bugs out. He's made the mistakes. So if we can take that system and use it as a vehicle to achieve our success with, that makes what we call a good match, the win-win relationship, partners in profit.
What's the age right now that you're dealing with people that are coming into starting in new
It's
business?
got to vary now.
It's pretty wide range.
Yeah.
In fact, we just had a client the other day in our Westport office, was 62 years old,
Wow.
Wow.
who's owned his own business successfully for 42 years in New York
Wow.
City, and now wants to use franchising as a way to keep his retirement a little more
Secure.
lively
Wow.
and secure,
Good.
and use that for for further retirement.
Do you find that the older people have a harder time adjusting to that comfort zone? The people who've been in
Moving
the
out of
corporate,
it.
right?
Yeah, the longer you've been in that comfort zone and the more consistent it's been, the harder it is to make that paradigm shift from where you've been to where you want to be. It takes a little longer to develop that with a client, but our typical age category is running between about 33 to 45 years of age going into business today.
The franchise, it's a partnership.
Partners in profit.
So it's not like you're going into business on your own. I think you made it very clear to me. It's the person who has come from a structured environment, or the person who has worked in one area that he's felt comfortable in, now has someone to turn to when he's in his... I mean, is that how it works?
Exactly. See, with franchising, what we know is the most successful franchises come from totally unrelated backgrounds, which already that makes you uncomfortable. If you were going into any other form of business on your own, the consultants and experts would say, do what you know. In
Right,
franchising,
okay.
we're telling you to look at and expand your horizons and possibly look at using your skills to do something you haven't done before. So yes, you get involved in this relationship, this win-win partners in profit relationship, and both parties will benefit from the process. Franchising is regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, and it's been regulated now for 13 years, so it allows you a little greater comfort of security, as consumer protection we call it, as far as your investments. In fact, it's more regulated than Securities and Exchange regulates stocks and bonds. So it can be a rather safe, but you still have to be careful. Many people have jumped into franchising based on what's hot or what's not.
Right, we talked about that
Yeah,
before.
right.
And that's typically
It's
what
not the way
do.
you work at all.
No, not at all. In fact, that's a typical question, what's the hottest franchise industry? That's where you can get into trouble. I mean, you can go into a particular type of franchise and see someone being very successful in
Right.
that operation,
Sure.
get caught up in it and excited about it, and assume that you could be very successful and make that same kind of income. We know the byproduct, the income, comes as a byproduct of being in the right environment.
Terry, when I have you back, I want you to bring, next time, a couple of franchisees. If you could find some people who have come from one totally different environment into a franchise, I'd like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
It's always
Yeah,
good to have you
interesting.
here.
Yeah, enjoy
Very
it.
good.
Nice
Terry, I
talking
want to
to
put
Thank
you in the
you.
Informer's directory too. Any more questions on finding the right franchise for you? Contact Terry Powell at the Entrepreneur's Source. Got that right. 211, what is that? I can't see.
Sharaff's Drive.
Sharaff's Drive in Waterbury, Connecticut. 289-0086. That's 1-800-289-0086. Terry, we'll see you again.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, we'll be right back with our feature informer, Janice Arpaio. Stay with us.
If you had all the time in the world, when you become more successful wouldn't matter. But time does not stand still. Begin living up to your potential. Accelerate your success by enrolling in the Dale Carnegie course. In the Dale Carnegie course, you'll increase your confidence, learn what it takes to get ahead, and achieve higher goals. Become more successful before time runs out.
For class schedules, call Dale Carnegie Training now. DeSarbo, Jensen, and Reichert, and Employee Benefit Consultants, specializing in estate planning, corporate tax planning, and qualified plan design and administration. For efficient quality service, call 248-1665. If you're looking for the latest in men's fashions, you're looking for Sargalini & Sons formal wear and fine men's clothing. Sargalini & Sons with 2 locations, 1196 Dixwell Avenue, Hampton, and 397 Cromwell Avenue, Hillview Plaza in Rocky Hill.
Welcome back to The Informers. I'm Janice Arpaio. If you have a dog or a cat, or you're thinking of getting one, when you go into the store to buy its first collar or leash, you'll notice that there's lots of different styles you can choose from. Joining us today to talk about safety and the importance of choosing the right collar and leash for your pet is Carol Levitt from Lick Your Chops. And once again, welcome back to the Informers, Carol.
Thanks, Janice. It's always a pleasure to come here.
It's always fun to have you here. Carol, does it really make a difference which one you choose? I mean, there's so many to choose from. I usually pick the color I like. Does it matter?
That's probably the biggest mistake people make when they come into the store at first. They stand there in front of that wall of leashes and collars and they say, oh, I want that pretty one up on the top. And I go running over and say, no, it's not the one you want, because if they've got their dog with them, I can kind of guide them. One of the things that they really need to be concerned with is the safety of the pet, and that is, does the collar fit properly? And when you've got a new puppy, you know, a puppy grows so rapidly.
Right.
Take a Rottweiler. You know, when it starts off, it's this big, and then before you know it, it's this
Ends
big.
up 150
Right.
pounds.
So what I'd like to do today is just show you a few of the collars, a few of the choices, and then maybe talk about why one would be better or worse than for a particular breed of dog.
Okay, great. Let's start with, you want to start with a puppy and then we'll go to a kitten?
Sure. We'll do the kitties last. I hate to put kitties last. But let's talk about the brand new puppy that's so tiny it doesn't really need a heavy collar on its neck. This will work great because you can adjust it to the dog and it'll grow a little bit
And
with
it's
the
nice
dog.
and lightweight.
Nice and soft. The only negative to this is when you put it on the dog, there's a tail hanging, which means the dog could put it in their mouth and might chew on it.
So should you clip the end if it's too
Clip
long?
the end if it's too long, but then the alternative to that is this kind of a collar. And these come in several sizes. And with this kind of a collar, there's no tail. It will grow with the dog. So it starts off small and then will grow with them.
Okay.
So that's a real advantage for the new puppy. Cost-wise, that works out well too, because you're not buying collars once a week for the dog.
Right. Now, obviously, if you buy this, the first one we held up, you're going to have to keep buying a new collar as the
Right.
dog gets larger, whereas this will adjust.
And
with it.
cost-wise, you're spending about the same for either of those collars, so you have to look at which one is best for your particular dog and how fast it's going to grow. The other thing you need to look at is, am I going to walk the dog every day? Is the dog going to be tied out in the yard? If the dog's going to be tied out in the yard with some kind of a tie-out or on a run, you need a different kind of a collar. The collar I just showed you would not hold the dog that was being tied outside. You need something with a sturdier clip on it. As an example, we could look at something like this one.
Okay,
Now
that's
this-
a similar kind of material. It's just
Similar.
a little wider and
Right.
heavier.
Nylon is the best quality for the leashes that we found. And this one has a much sturdier hook on it. It has a nice safe thing here for hooking on for a tie-out or for whatever you're going to use to tie them out with. And it's pretty sturdy. And you won't lose your dog. So that one's a real good one for that. The one that I think is one of the most important ones, and I'd like to, if you don't mind, would you mind being a dog for me for a minute?
Sure.
I think this would be kind of fun because we get questions like this all the time in the store.
Now, is this what they refer to as a choke chain?
It's referred to as a choke chain, Janice, but let's call it a training collar. It should only be used for training with the dog. It should not be used on an everyday basis.
So this
And
is not a regular dog collar.
It's not a regular dog collar,
Okay.
and you never would tie a dog outside with this kind of a collar. I'm going to show you why. It's kind of interesting. You put it on the dog. See how that releases? I didn't
Yeah.
hurt you. Okay, now I'm going to show you something interesting. Let's put this on the wrong way.
Okay. Oh, it
See
doesn't
what happens?
release.
Doesn't release. If you put that on your dog the wrong way, you're going to have a real problem. It could choke your dog.
Yeah, now I can imagine someone putting this on a little puppy that could break their throat
That's
or
right.
something.
Right, and that's when you see a dog gasping. That's why it's so important to make sure the collar fits properly. With this one, if you look and you see a letter P, that's how you put it on the dog. But that's what we do in our store and try to show people how to use the proper use of the collars. It's not just a thing to tie a dog out to take him for a walk. It's got to fit properly. When you put a nylon collar on a dog, as an example, you should make sure, and let's use your arm again and make believe you're my puppy today.
How loosely should it fit?
Thank you. That's what I was going to show you. If this were the dog in your hand with their arm, you want to make sure the collar can't slip over the dog's head. Yet you want to make sure you can get at least 2 fingers in there.
Okay.
The collar
So it
should
shouldn't
hang
be real
loosely.
tight.
Right. The collar should hang loosely on the dog, but not slip over the head.
Okay. Quickly, let's talk about some cats, because I know one of the things, do you have a breakaway collar there?
We do. All kitties should have breakaway collars. And here, now you're a kitty. You changed from doggy to kitty. You're outside playing and you're a kitty, and you go up a tree and you get caught on something. That little piece of elastic right there will break. So you'll be released from your collar and you'll be safe.
The kitty won't hang itself.
Right. Or
break
let's
its
say
neck.
a doggy's chasing the kitty and he grabs it by the collar. That's the most important. That's why they always grab them. The kitty can get loose.
Oh, so that's
So
real
this
important.
is the only kind of collar you should ever put on a kitty.
Good for outside.
Never put a regular one on.
Let's talk a little bit about leashes. I know you
Okay.
have nylon and leather.
Right. Leather leashes are generally used for training. It's an expensive leash. We don't recommend them for puppy because they're going to chew through it. So you want to make sure for those first few leashes that they're inexpensive, but they're solid and strong. Most trainers will recommend a leather leash because it's the best way to train a dog. It's less distracting. Leashes come in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, single nylon, double nylon. Again, all that depends on the size of your dog. You would never take a leash such as this one. That's a double 6 foot and put it on a Bichon.
Right.
I mean, the poor little thing would be dragging it. Look at the size of the hook on that one.
Right.
You take a nice
Be
thin
much
one.
too heavy.
Right.
I want to talk real quickly because for those of you with pets and you walk them, this is the Flexi leash.
Right.
And this is what I use to walk my little Bichon, and this is terrific.
Yeah.
If you can see, it pulls out. So as you're walking the animal, and you have a little lock here so you can keep it from going too far, and it's great because the leash doesn't drag on the ground and
Right.
it doesn't get tangled up.
Yeah.
And these come in larger sizes. This would be like for a small dog
That'd be a small dog.
or a cat,
Yeah.
and then they go in larger sizes
Yeah,
for
and they go in longer lengths for the larger dogs, and they're
Right.
sturdier. The leash part of it is sturdier for the
but
bigger
they're
dogs.
terrific. As usual, so many things to talk about. We're
Out of
running out of
time
time.
again.
We're going to put you in our Informers directory. It's real important that you do find the right collar and leash for your pet. You can call Carol at Lick Your Chops, located at 935 West Main Street in Brantford, and you can call her at 488-7337. Really important stuff you need to know.
It is, and we wish they would come to us before they get the dog.
Yeah. I want to quickly say that today, October 27th, you're having your Halloween costume party.
Yes, it is this
For
afternoon.
dogs and cats, so if you want to enter, bring your animal down, and you're also taking reservations for pictures with Santa Claus.
Yeah, we're starting
Fun
already.
things coming up. Don't go away. We'll be back with a wrap-up of today's show.
Carl Sherman's International Motors is Milford Mazda, Enterprise Olds, and Volvo City West, 915 Boston Post Road, Milford. We want to earn your business. Call 877-0311.
Today, people are realizing that quick weight loss programs are not the answer. You lose the weight and gain it right back. What you need to lose is body fat. The correct and safe way requires eating habits and activities that are right for you. I'm Mickey Harpaz, exercise physiologist, nutritionist, and health consultant. I educate for a natural program of correct eating habits and active lifestyle. I work with you one-on-one, and in 16 weeks, you will be off to a healthier and thinner way of living. Call me today for a free consultation.
And now here's a recap of today's Informers Directory. For more information on mediation and arbitration, contact Andrew Tivoli, Expedite Mediation and Arbitration Services Incorporated, 150 26 14th Avenue, Whitestone, New York, dial 1-800-829-5282. And to find the perfect franchise for you, contact Terry Powell, the Entrepreneur Source, 211 Schrafts Drive, Waterbury, Connecticut, dial 1-800-289-0086. Looking for the perfect collar for your pet? Contact Carol Levitt, Lick Your Chops, 935 West Main Street, Brantford, Connecticut, dial 488-7337, and that's a recap of today's Informers Directory. And welcome back to the Informers. I'm not real happy about the last segment, ladies. But
I think this is going to look great.
pick this out for me.
We'll take Paul for a walk, Betty Ann.
There we
go.
It's pretty cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see yours.
This is the one I picked out.
Whoa.
Oh, you guys
Conan.
are
It's a good one to have.
You guys are really ill.
All right, now I've got the perfect collar for Paul. It's called a pinch collar. How does that look?
We never get
Mean,
that
huh?
hand.
It's called a pinch collar because the links pinch. It's used for training.
Where you get these things.
All right,
but
all right. We
appreciate
promise.
Carol Levitt's.
Yeah, really important things you need to know to protect your pet.
Where's that other one you had? Is that what you use for your dog?
That Flexi leash, yeah, it's great. I walk little Miko.
You have everything for your pet, though. Imaginable.
Everything, yeah.
It's a spoiled dog.
He's my baby.
Well treated.
He is your baby?
It's my baby.
Well, I'm going to save this for
Your next date?
real funny, ladies. We'll see you next
Going
week
out
on The
with the
Informers, and remember, you can never get enough info.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.